This is a special weekend in the United States. It's Memorial Day. Our regular content will be resuming next week, so make sure you're subscribed so that you never miss a video. Let's take some time this weekend to specifically thank our servicemen and women fighting for our freedoms around the world. This YouTube video and the accompanying blog on Medium are both dedicated to their sacrifice. Thank you. World War II General Douglas MacArthur had an interesting take on a popular phrase. He once said this: "Whoever said that the pen is mightier than the sword clearly never saw an automatic weapon." Automatic weapons were a technological innovation that forever changed the tide of war. Many have the opinion that these weapons cause more harm than good, but that debate isn't the topic of today's video, but rather wartime innovation more broadly. War is often a necessary evil, and yet wars have also caused great need, and as they say, need is the mother of invention. Wartime inventions have birthed weapons that have brought greater violence to our world, but yet for every violent weapon, a more peaceful, even more useful invention springs into existence. These wartime innovations have forever changed the course of war and even many of our consumer lives. Today I'm going to discuss 3 inventions that, yes, draw their roots back to the depths of war, and I'm sure you've used every single one of them. Oh, the humble microwave. From this magical box, food becomes edible. Or at least, that's what they say. Pizza rolls have become a favored treat of younger children, and where would college be without instant ramen? That's right. This box, this microwave's existence, owes its existence to an accidental military discovery. The inventor was Percy Spencer. During World War II, Percy had been working on some important projects, including a radar magnetron for the military. Now, this radar magnetron was a whistle of sorts. It was an electronic whistle that didn't produce sound waves or any whistle you could hear, but instead produced electromagnetic waves for its whistle. As Percy was attempting to increase the power levels on this device, he reached into his pocket for a snack. Peanut clusters had been a favorite of Percy for a while, but this time, as he reached his hand into his pocket, he found a gooey, sticky mess. Understandably curious, Percy decided to try other snacks. He placed an egg under the radar magnetron, and the egg exploded. Next, he tried corn kernels, and I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this. They popped! The entire office enjoyed popcorn, and the microwave oven was born.
Use the right lane to keep right onto KY 237 towards I-275. Then keep right onto KY 237.
Turn left in 500 feet. Oh, how we love that voice when we're navigating strange terrain. GPS can be annoying, but many of us see it as a fundamental need in today's culture. It's included with nearly every single smartphone on the market, and how could we get by without it? Well, we see it as a need today, but in the Cold War era, it was seen as an important military innovation. GPS can trace its roots back to the submarines of the 1960s and 1970s, and even to the space race itself. The United States Navy had submarines stationed all over the world, keeping an eye on that Soviet enemy. The United States needed to track the locations of their submarines, but by nature, these submarines were submerged, which made the use of technology difficult. But that's where Sputnik offered inspiration. In 1957, the USSR launched Sputnik into orbit, one of the first satellites ever entered into the Earth's orbit. The satellite Sputnik was on the cutting edge of computing and technology. The small beeps that Sputnik made allowed researchers to track its location using the Doppler effect. Well, 2 of these researchers discovered that the Doppler effect could also be used for navigation in general. The very first GPS system was built in partnership with the U.S. Navy and the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA as it was known at the time. Their system was known as Navstar, launched in 1964. It was a complex system that required exact knowledge of the locations of the satellites, making it more difficult, but it did remain in service until 1993. Later, a researcher by the name of Roger Easton improved upon the system using a time-based navigation, or timation as he called it. Multiple satellites were perfectly time synchronized and thus able to triangulate the position, any position on Earth, to within 30 feet. This new system was launched in the 1970s, and the last satellite went into orbit in 1993, completing the new navigation system. Initially, this GPS system was seen as a military advantage used by the United States and, for large part, kept confidential. But that changed in the 1980s when a plane from Korean Airlines accidentally entered Soviet airspace and was shot down. The US government began to see an industrial and consumer use for this new technology. The US government eventually added a consumer tier that allowed positioning accurate to within 300 feet, reserving that fine-tuning for military use, but it still had many industrial and consumer applications. GPS was now in the hands of consumers, although the US government did severely limit its use. In 2000, selective availability was completely turned off, and consumers and other industries received the full benefits of GPS, allowing your iPhone to be able to accurately navigate you anywhere in the world. Selective availability was a recent feature on my This Day in Computing History over on my social media pages. So, for more information like that, I encourage you to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, where I'm active daily. Cat memes, Netflix binges, and Facebook. Is the internet a necessary evil? Possibly. And yes, the internet that powers our world, brings you overnight deliveries from Amazon, and entertainment to all you couch potatoes, began in a government lab. In the 1960s, the sheer power of computers for practical application was first being discovered, and some researchers had a dream. What if they could connect a soldier on the battlefield with life-saving intelligence information from anywhere in the world? That was their dream. Now they had to implement it. Their dreams first began to see reality at ARPA, the government's Advanced Research Projects Agency, formerly DARPA. Initially, researchers were able to connect computer nodes across the country together using wired connections. These computer nodes transmitted text and other important information, proving the possibility of such a technology. However, these early systems for the internet depended on large, heavy computers the size of a room. Well, the military had little use for such stationary, heavy, immobile objects. They needed a mobile solution. The military needed a computer and a connection that would work deep in the jungles of a country or miles above Vietnam. This was their real dream: wireless connection to soldiers and militaries across the globe. The wireless power of the internet was first born at a bar in Silicon Valley, California on August 27, 1976. 8 researchers typing on a small mobile node sent a little bit of text to a radio transmitter which relayed the signals to a nearby mountaintop. That mountaintop antenna rebroadcast the signals to another antenna in Menlo Park, California, where the signal made its way onto the wired ARPANET, the predecessor to our modern internet. Through ARPANET, that signal reached not only that lab in Menlo Park, but another researcher in Boston, Massachusetts. Later that day, a researcher in Boston was reading that exact same message that small team typed at a bar in California. Strangely, the power of the internet did not become its full military scale until it was released for consumer, civilian, and industrial use. But the real power of the internet lies not in its technological accomplishment, but its design, and its design for military use. The internet is the powerful tool it is today because it is flexible. And it is flexible because the US military is everywhere. It maintains nearly 800 bases in 70 countries around the world. It has hundreds of ships, thousands of warplanes, and tens of thousands of armored vehicles. The reason the internet can work across any device, network, and medium, the reason a smartphone in Sao Paulo can stream a song from a server in Singapore is because it needed to be ubiquitous as the the American security apparatus for which it was designed. So just remember, the next time you use the internet to watch a cat video, binge Netflix, or make a goofy TikTok, you're using a technology created by and for the United States military. And this technology is only possible because of the military's need for flexibility. That's right, 3 of the inventions you use every single day owe their existence to the US military and war. Specifically in today's video, your microwave, your phone's GPS, and the internet. We would all prefer war to dissolve into peace, but since we live in a sinful fallen world, that is simply not possible. It is encouraging, despite the violence around us, that conflict can still birth beautiful things for our world. Though war is awful, violent, and in many ways evil, we might not have microwaves, GPS, the internet, or many, many more inventions we use every single day. If we must war, then it's encouraging to know that inventions are being made that will enhance life on Earth. As I stated at the top of this piece, it's Memorial Day weekend in the United States. This is a time for us to remember the sacrifice of countless men and women across our country who have sacrificed and dedicated their lives so that we can sleep well in our beds at night. Because they stand ready to bring violence on all who seek to cause us harm. So I use this video and I dedicate this video to you. I thank our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen for their unending sacrifice to protect our borders and secure our freedoms. They also fight battles that allow the technology we use every single day to be invented. So I thank you. I thank you for your sacrifice. And may God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. Guys, thanks for watching. Remember, please take time this weekend specifically to thank our brave servicemen and women. They need our support. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing so that you never miss a video. We'll be resuming videos on the history of computers next week with an astronomical calculation. If you are subscribed, consider sharing this video or your favorite video from my channel with some friends on your own social media platform. And speaking of social media, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm active daily on each of those platforms. I'll also be writing a blog on Medium. You can read today's blog down below in the description. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. If you'd like to explore more in the history of computing, click over here. Or another tech video from my channel, click over here. That's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next week. Bye!